night again, just after 7. You know what? I feel it's time to go wild. Well, week 2 of the NIHL hockey season is with us. This is the Time to Go Wild radio show on Halton Community Radio 92.3 FM. We're live across the Hindernet on the ws.hcr93fm.com and on the TuneIn app. You can contact us, radio@widneswild.co.uk. We have Facebook and Twitter.com/TTGW Radio. You can drop us a quick shout. Let us know you're out there. And boy, what a weekend of hockey we had. It was a bruiser. Evening, Doug.
Good evening.
What a week that was.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a sad lively last night, to say the least. It was a bit different from the previous weekend.
Yeah, my guess last night thought rugby was a tough game.
No. Rugby isn't tough compared to this.
No, I think we've got another convert though.
Ah, that's good. Well, I suppose
enjoyed yourself.
I suppose I better hit 'em where it counts and get on with the results. Here we go. So, a roundup of your results across the ice hockey leagues from across the Elite League and NIHL North divisions for this last week. Starting off with the Elite Ice Hockey League on Saturday, Nottingham Panthers 4, Coventry Blaze 3, Belfast Giants 6, Guildford Flames 3. On Sunday, Coventry Blaze 1, Manchester Storm 4, Milton Keynes Lightning 6, Belfast Giants 3. Moving across to the EIHL Challenge Cup on Saturday, Manchester Storm 3, Sheffield Steelers 6, Cardiff Devils 5, Milton Keynes Lightning 2. On Sunday, Sheffield Steelers 6, Nottingham Panthers 5 and Guildford Flames 8, Cardiff Devils 4. Moving across now to the NIHL Division 1 North Morley on Saturday, Hull Pirates 6, Solihull Barons 7 after overtime, Solway Sharks 3, Whitley Warriors 1. On Sunday, Whitley Warriors 2, Blackburn Hawks D1 3 after overtime, Dragons D1 4, Solihull Barons 3, Nottingham Lions 3, Hull Pirates 5. Now moving back into our own league for our very own Widnes Wild of the NIHL Division 2 North Laidler for Saturday, Bradford Bulldogs 4, Blackburn Hawks D2 3. Telford Tigers D2 7, Coventry Blaze NIHL 4, and on Sunday, Hull Jets 2, Sutton Sting 8, Altrincham Aces 3, Sheffield Senators 2 after overtime, and a game that matters to all of you. RTL Widnes Wild 4, Telford Tigers D2 1. And that's a big roundup of all the scores across the ice hockey leagues from the Elite League and the NIHL North divisions for the last week. Well, we managed to catch up with a few people after the game, and this is what they had to say.
Hi, it's Doug Brown for Time to Go Wild Radio at Widnes Ice Rink, having just seen a bruising 4-1 victory to the Widnes Wild. I'm stood here with Coach Oliver Barron. What did you think of the match, Ollie?
I thought it was a good game. Obviously, this target with the 2 points, and that's what we come out with. We started the game really well. We played some nice hockey, some fast-flowing moves, some nice goals. Towards the end, they were a bit of a fracas, should we say. That sort of changed the tempo of the game. It was a bit of a cheap shot on Elvis, and that sort of set the tone for the second period. I think some of our guys wanted to seek a little bit of revenge. There were a few big hits going about and a few nasty plays, so they stepped up and did what they thought were right. In the third, we ran into penalty trouble. We just had to see it out, and getting that 4th goal sort of killed the game. I thought Phil Crosby were outstanding in net. He made some really big saves. Really pleased with him. There were some good individual performances and some different lines as well. They worked pretty well, so I'm pleased overall.
That's good. I mean, Phil will get his shot out.
It will do. Yeah. He was lucky. We had a big 5-on-3 for best part of 5 minutes, and he made some huge stops, kept us in it. They snuck one in on that 5-on-3, and it weren't Phil's fault at all. He had a great game. He will get his shootout.
So how do you think the team's progressing this year?
It's good. We've got a lot of new faces. We've had to tinker the lines a bit. We've obviously lost some guys through injury. We lost his captain, unfortunately, to D-side, and Danny getting that big injury, we've had to have a bit of a reshuffle. I'm sure, well, some of them penalties this game, we're going to have to reshuffle again for next week. We've got a huge game next week. I expect Sutton to be really good. They're coming down a division. They've got some big players and know their team well, so that should be another good game.
So what were you doing playing in D tonight for certain bits of the game? I saw you floating back into D.
No, I play point on our power play line, and I'm up on D for that power play unit.
Oh, okay, mate. Right, thanks very much for your time. Good night.
Cheers, Doug, and thanks to the listeners, and thanks to all the fans that come down tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next weekend.
Yeah, and we'll look forward to the game against Sutton. Good night. I'm here with Phil Cosby, the Widnes Wild netminder, and he's just come from a bruising 4-1 win over the Telford Tigers. How do you think the game went, Phil?
Yeah, it was a good game. Yeah, I think Telford came here with a clear game plan to try and rough it up and get us off our game, and in parts we did get drawn into it, but in the end we pulled together and got the result, and we move on to the next game.
So you had a tough game last week against Coventry, didn't you?
Yeah. We've had a couple of tough games really, Coventry and Telford. Both teams have improved, and we're still gelling together a bit as a team, so we're going to have them games where we're not quite playing as good as we can do, but it's coming together now, and it's looking good.
I think tonight it showed the real strength of the team in sticking up for one another.
Yeah, of course.
Sticking up for you.
Yeah.
I think we gave them a bit of a chance in that. I calculate probably had about 45 minutes of penalties against us.
A lot of penalties, very tiring for the penalty kill and for the goalie, of course. We stuck up for each other when we had to. Maybe got drawn into a little bit of their tactics a bit too much, but we stuck up for each other, and like you say, it shows that strength in depth, that when we had the key players missing, other players stepped up. So it was a good performance really against a tough team.
Yeah, so how have you enjoyed your first 2 games in Widnes colours?
They've been it's been a bit strange looking down and seeing yellow, they've been tough games, but we'll pull together. We'll play better week on week. Personally, I think I've played pretty well, which has been good. Hit the ground running, so to speak.
Do you think your game's improved since you've been here?
Probably a little bit, yeah, I'd say, because you come to a new team, you've got a new challenge, you're going to step up your game. And
I mean, you've got another goalkeeper who's as good as you, so you're kind of fighting for places, but you've got mutual respect there, I think.
Of course, yeah. Croyle's a great goalie. I think it's some great competition between each other. We get on well, and
that's good.
Yeah, we're really pushing each other's game to the next level.
So what aspects of the game do you think you've done particularly well since you've been here?
I think my worst thing was rebound control, and I think in the past couple of games I've managed to get on top of that a bit and try and relieve the pressure after that first shot, and not put the rebound into dangerous areas. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, you done some fantastic one-handed saves as well.
Yeah. I got lucky towards the end. I think one hit my glove and went off the post. I like to play an aggressive game, so pull off the old TV saves every now and again.
Yeah, and congratulations on your first MVP.
Thank you very much. It was great team effort. Yeah, it was a very good defensive display from the guys today. I had all the help I needed out there.
Well, all the fans were rooting for you to get the MVP, because at the end of it, you had a battering game.
Yeah. We'll all feel it in the morning. 100%.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Phil.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Time to go Wild Radio. We've catch up with Mikey Gilbert at the end of an interesting game between the Widnes Wild and the Telford Tigers. So, Mikey, that was a feisty one.
Yeah, it was a feisty one. We always love those games. Thought it was a good game. We all dug in, and then we got the result as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of big penalties, and there's a big 5 minutes to kill, 5 on 3 there.
Yeah, for about 5 minutes. So it was a tough one, but we pulled together and didn't concede on that, which was good.
Yeah, that shows really good character from all the team, and the result of a 4-1 win keeps us well up there in the league.
Yeah, we're on a winning streak. Let's hope to keep it going, and then should go on to win the league.
Well, next week it's Sutton Sting.
Yeah, Sutton. It'll be a tough game, but we should win. Looking forward to it. We're all going to put together, and then should get the W.
Well, you take care, rest up, and we'll catch you next week.
Cheers. See you later, Colin.
Thanks. Bye. Well, many a wise word there from from all three people, from Ollie, from Phil and from Mikey. And we've actually had an extra message through from Mikey, and he's asked us to give an extra shout out to the Wild Academy. They are recruiting players, so if you've got people out there thinking of taking up the sport, mainly at the younger ages, check out widneswild.co.uk and the Silver Blades website for details. Well, where do we start with last night? Where do you start? It
started off gentle enough. It
Yeah.
just got a bit out of hand.
No, I wouldn't say out of hand. I just think it got a bit lively. At one point, it was like the blue touch paper, and you did not know what was going to happen. It really, really went for it. And I thought it was a cracking game. And all in all, for liveliness, for the fans, the noise. And I think our guest, who's having a good nod of the head, we can bring her in now.
We're going to introduce our guest.
Be my guest?
Yes, be my guest. Well, tonight, if you've been looking at our Twitter account, you know who our guest is. It's our team chaplain, Linda Aitken. How are you, Linda?
I'm good, thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So, introduce yourself to everybody, because they've seen you around the ring, but let us know a bit more about yourself and how you got involved with the team.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm the sports chaplain for Widnes Wild Ice Hockey. And you probably think, well, what is a sports chaplain? Well, sports chaplain is basically a person who's there for all faiths and no faiths. I have a strong faith myself, but I'm there for everybody, multicultural faiths that we have these days. My role really is for the well-being of the players, for the on-ice team and the off-ice team as well. So it's about building relationships, getting to know one another, and that's part of what I do. Don't get involved in the game, as in, well, I'm a fan, but that's involvement enough. But I don't get involved in giving advice about how to play and stuff like that. That's not my role. I'm there for the guys' well-being and a listening ear for whenever they need me. It's me.
So how long have you been a chaplain?
Well, I started I was just thinking this before. When did I start? I had my first interviews in 2015. So I was appointed in the December 2015, and I came onto the team in 2016 in the January. And then obviously there's been a changeover, and Ollie kept me on, so I'm on now for 2017. So that's how long I've been with the team, really. Second full season.
So, did you know anything about ice hockey before you became involved with the team?
Only mildly. I'd started coming in the March of that year, basically with the grandchildren, introducing them to ice hockey. The little lad, he absolutely loves it. He knows all the team now. He goes in and he high-fives them and does all these wave things and tells them they're going to win and stuff like that. And he likes to skate himself. And that's how it began, really. And I don't understand all the rules. Even now, I don't understand it all. But hey-ho, I enjoy it. And that's how it began.
So you obviously enjoy being involved with the Widnes Wild. What would you say to just normal fans about coming along to see the games?
Oh, do you know what? It's a great family atmosphere. Once you get talking to everybody, it's like little ripples of people. You get to know somebody, then they introduce you to somebody else, then introduce you to somebody else, and before you know, there's buffets going on in the background, there's crisps and sweets being shared around, there's drinks, and it's a great community, and it's a fun thing to do with family.
Yeah, because we often talk about the hockey family, don't we, Colin?
Oh, yeah, it's how. I mean, when I first started going, you just get to know a couple of people, then you know someone else, and the whole atmosphere. I mean, Widnes, I think, is one of the bigger exceptions within the D2 leagues, where we have a big atmosphere every night. I mean, you go to some other teams, and it's unfortunate that they can't drum up the atmosphere. But some of the other, I mean, Altrincham are now getting a really good atmosphere going at their games, and Blackburn, well, the Eagles last year, now the Hawks D2 have took their spot. They'll probably have more of an atmosphere these days. But, you know, the amount of people that come along to watch what is effectively a minority sport, did that surprise you when you first came along?
It did. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect when I first came to my first match. I just rocked up, didn't know anybody at all, with 2 kids in tow, thinking, where do I sit? What's the best point? What are they doing? I didn't even know there was 3, sessions of 20 minutes with gaps in the middle. Knew nothing.
It does take you by surprise, but I mean, the speed of the game. It really does surprise a lot of people, just how good it actually is. I mean, Britain actually was one of the first countries to be playing ice hockey. Really, believe it or not. It was actually the British expats that took it over to North America.
Wow.
But it's a sport that I think doesn't get a lot of the coverage because we mentioned it on previous shows about the cost to play, but for the little ones, they can get in quite cheaply because they can get involved with the junior development, so they get a lot of second-hand kit, which is exactly how you get involved. I mean, you went along with family and they're hooked, apparently.
Yes.
And it's a good thing to be hooked on, is hockey. I mean, it has everything.
It teaches values, though, doesn't it? Because we were talking with a couple of the players, and they said, well, on the ice, we'll go out there and do our best for our team, but off the ice, we're friends. And that can be when you move teams, you still stay friendly with the people you were previously. And I think that has got a lot of values for people from the point of view of the respect element.
Classic Joe Gilbert was there last night, and everybody said hi to him, give him hugs and everything, and once, part of the hockey family, you always are.
I mean Joe Gilbert was a big part of the Wild while he was with us, and
about 18 months, wasn't it?
Well, at least, and I mean, his family have always been welcome. We still interact with them online, and whenever we see them, it is one of those things where you keep it all on the ice. I mean, you could have said, last night got rather feisty on a number of occasions, but then at the handshakes, there were handshakes.
Absolutely.
And that's what they're trying, that's the whole thing about getting it over to particularly to the kids, that's what you want to have happen. I mean, and actually, one of our loyal listeners, Andy Shutt's been mentioning there that, of course, of 4 seasons, our netminder Greg Ruxton was, of course, around last night. He's still a big part of the club, although he's not playing for us, because he had such a big focal point. A lot of the ex-players are like that with us. So, in terms of how you interact with the players, I've seen it in other clubs where they've had, be it some kind of person they can just talk to. And is that how it sort of works for yourself? They can just feel free to just sit down and talk about how they're feeling generally, and just help to vent. So, what would you see as a key thing for how you can help them along or help other people along?
It's about building relationships at first. You have to start building a rapport up with people before you can start helping anybody if they need your help. And once they feel at ease with you, then people will open up to you, and people tell you little things, but what they tell is strictly confidential. I'm part of Sports Chaplaincy UK, and we have a very strict confidentiality agreement between the club and myself. So what I talk about with another player never goes past that other player and myself. And that's what I'm there for. If they've got a problem, then the guys are getting to know, go and see Linda.
I think it's an important thing, particularly in this day and age with a lot of your social media and the way in which the pace of life is, that sometimes people get so wrapped up in 101 things that they just end up with effectively their bottle too full. It's not as though it can spill out anywhere. It's like a pressure keg. It's getting more and more pressure, and the guys on the ice, I mean, sportsmen in general, I say sportsmen in quotes, sports athletes in general, they put a lot of pressure on themselves to do well. I mean, they be it football, rugby, athletics, swimming, anything. If they take pride in what they do, they beat themselves up if they've had a bad time. Yeah, if they're having a good one, they're bouncing off the board, but there can be so many lows and so many highs. It must be very tricky for you to help. Or how do you feel that it works to help them relax?
Well, the relaxing bit, I think they have their own little routine for that, because they need to sort of, as any athlete does, has to get their head in the game. So they have their own de-stressing and relaxing before games. But I'm just there if they need me. I turn up for practices, and they have my mobile number. So if they need to catch up with me during the week, because I'm not there just on a Sunday and a Thursday night, because when a problem's going to happen, anytime, and I'm open for any time. If somebody needs me, all they've got to do, text me, and I can meet up with them. But that's part of being a sports chaplain. Your door is always open to help anybody that needs help. You never close your door, do you?
No.
Your friend needs a help, then the door's open.
And I think we take a little breather with something else that also helps people unwind. A little bit of music, perhaps. And you can introduce a little bit of Bee Gees, I think. You know which one? Go on.
Jive talking. Yeah, that's great. You had to tell me.
Of course, you can still drop us messages through Facebook, Twitter, and the email address. Well, we are here with our guest, Linda Aitken. Thank you for coming along.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, you've given a very different insight on the game, how your interactions are. We're going to let's have a little talk about last night. What was your take on the game? How did you think it went?
It was a tough game, fast pace, highly entertaining. And it was a good match, well played, I've got to say, well played by the team.
Yeah, there were moments where heads could have been lost, and they kept everything together.
Yeah.
And that's come on from last season, because you saw a change. I think it was in the game against the Aces, where a lot of people grew up, and it was like, well, we're not going to fight for the sake of fighting.
No.
We will only step up when we have to. When someone's had a cheap shot, or someone's been boarded incorrectly, or something like that. So I think it was played in their own heads. Well, we will only get riled when we have to.
I mean, for me, one of the key moments of tension in that game last night, and I think most of the fans will agree with it, was when we had the 2 5-minute major penalties on the clock. And for those of you who aren't too familiar with the difference between a major and a minor penalty, in a minor penalty, if the team that's got the men advantage score, the player in the sin bin can come back to the ice. But on a major penalty, they're sticking there. So for 5 minutes, a good 5 minutes, we weren't, and no one comes back out. And not only did we have one person in there for 5 minutes, we had two.
And we had a 5-on-3, didn't we?
And for 5 minutes to kill off a 5-on-3 penalty, if you're not too familiar with ice hockey, that is some doing, I will tell you that. It was very, very character building. There were an awful lot of tired legs at the end of it. Well, yes. A couple of talking points from last night. I think we can. I've got the game sheet here, and well, let's see. Stats: Ollie 1 goal, 1 assist. Lee Kemp an assist. Mikey Gilbert a goal. Bez Hughes an assist. Stewie Brill an assist. Elvis a goal and Bobby Corn a goal. And I'm gonna have to say it again.
It's a brilliant goal.
Elvis's goal for number 2. I don't even think the keeper saw the puck. I don't. It left his stick and went in the back of the net. And from the moment it left his stick to reach in the back of the net, I don't think anyone could see it. It was that quick.
Incredible.
You've seen the guys a bit in training, haven't you, Lyndon? And,
yeah.
You know, what's your take on the way in which they play? They go about their training. Do they have a bit of a fun bit as well as their normal training antics?
Well, Ollie's very good at keeping them focused, and Gillies too. So they keep focused. They have that one time when they can come together and play hard. and he works them hard. He does. There is a little bit of fun at the end.
Of course.
There's always got to be fun in it some way, otherwise it's going to be boring, isn't it?
Knowing that we've got the children on the team, I mean, the terrible twosome of Ratty and TJ. Tom Ratcliffe and Tom Jackson.
You could include Bez in that as well, couldn't you?
Actually, he's joined in the dance this year. I haven't seen Ken. A message for Kenny Armstrong. I haven't seen you doing the pre-ice dance with the terrible twosome this year, so it's about time you started joining. And next time we'll have a square dance with the four of them. It'll be getting really silly.
Little dance before they go on ice.
It is. I catch it on the video every week. It's actually quite funny trying to see if they've changed it up before they go on the ice.
They got me involved a bit in that this week, so no.
Each player has a routine. I mean, other than hockey, have you been involved with sports chaplaincy with any other teams or any other sports chaplains at all?
No, I haven't been involved in sports chaplaincy at all. This is my first thing, and in fact, I am the first chaplain for ice hockey.
Wow.
In the UK.
Well, there you go.
There's an exclusive for you. Yeah, I'm on the sports chaplaincy.
We're another first.
Yeah. I'm on the Sports Chaplaincy UK website, and when it comes up other sports, and you see my name, Linda Aitken, Widnes Wild.
Well, there you go. Something extra special to tag onto Widnes Wild. Groundbreaking in more ways than one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think it's about time I hit another button on the machine and see what piece of music plays, because I think there's something important. Well, bit of what's on stuff to come. Don't forget you've got your RTL Widnes Wild website, www.widneswild.co.uk, where you can find out about all your Puckers pals, all your own and loan shirts, highlights and podcast season ticket information. Don't forget your next coach is for Sheffield on the 30th of September. Supporters Club members £4, non-supporters club members £7, and children with a paying adult £1. You can reserve your places at facebook.com/WidnesWild1s. And a quick plug for the shirts for the own and loan. They are definitely going thick and fast. We've got 9 left. A total of 66 are actually up for grabs. There's only 9 left. We have a Dan Brace girdle away and warm-up, a Lee Kemp warm-up, a Mikey Gilbert away, Nick Manning, Phil Crosby and Matty Crawl just their warm-ups, and Tom Jackson an away and a warm-up. Get them while they're available. £75 for a game shirt and £60 for your warm-up shirt, and you get to basically buy that shirt, but you loan it back to the player and they get to play in it all season, and then you get it at the end.
And when you get it back, it might have a little bit of damage on it, but it's a game-worn shirt.
That's the whole point, isn't it? You think it has to have battle scars.
Yeah, a little bit of scarring on, that's great.
So what else is coming up?
Right, next week on Sunday the 17th, we're at home to the Sultan's Thing, and then there's a bit of a break, and on the 30th of September we're away to the Sheffield Senators. The week after we're back home. We've got quite a few home games. Sunday the 1st of October we're at home to the Blackburn Hawks, and then the following week, the 8th of October, we're at home to the Altrincham Aces, which will be another feisty affair.
Oh, I'd recommend you get yourself down for the Altrincham Aces game, because that is going to be the big derby game of the season, I think. I mean, in the past it was D-side and Altrincham, but D-side's not quite the same team as we played in the past.
No, Altringham's going to be the game to be at.
I also think the Dragons D2 team's going to bring a lot of interesting players into the fray who have played for other Widnes teams, and so they're going to be lively affairs. But we want you down there loud and proud every home game, every Sunday that we've got a home game, 5:30 face-offs. Oh yes, get in there, and don't forget, Pucker the Penguin was on good form this week, wasn't he?
Oh yes,
Linda's laughing. Was he on good form?
Yeah, of course he was. Always is.
Oh yes, we love Pucker.
Yeah.
Some of the Telford fans, well, you've got a mascot as well that's interactive. Well, yeah, that's what a mascot's meant to do.
Absolutely.
You're meant to interact and have fun with the crowd and fill in the gaps.
There are a few mascots out there I know who do that. Other games I've been to, their mascots do have a chance to interact, but because of the layout of their rinks and their arenas. But I mean, Widnes is one of those rinks where I wouldn't just call him a mascot. He's as much a part of the team as anyone else.
Absolutely.
Well, he's got his own club now, hasn't he?
He has, Pucker's Pals, so check those details out on widneswild.co.uk for all the young'uns out there. And of course we have the Chuck a Duck, so every week get your ducks and you get a chance to take your aim and practice your aim and trying to hit Pucker. And he won't take offence, does he?
No, he doesn't. No.
In fact, he laps it up.
Yeah, they changed the Chuck a Duck now. It's going to be up in the first period break. Because most of the ducks are sold already as people walk into the rink. So,
that's good. Yes. So, yeah, of course, for those of you who are still intrigued about other things that go on, we have also our 50-50 draw, which means you buy a ticket, the takings get split in half goes into the kitty and half goes to the winner. And it's a very common thing to be done at ice hockey matches, actually.
It is, and I think we had our most successful week this week.
Yes. So, I'm not sure, but it was a good amount for the winner, whoever got it. So, congratulations to the winner. It's yes. It's so as they say on the lottery, you've got to be in it to win it. And our 50-50 was very good this week. So, a big thank you from Time to Go Wild Radio and the club to the people involved in sorting all the ticket sales out for that. And, of course, a big thank you to all the fans who bought the tickets. Well, what do we say about this game from last night? We've got to talk a bit more about it.
Should we bring a player's point of view in?
Go on. Is it Mike Mauer's time?
Yes.
Well, I suppose we better do...
Yeah, we've got to do Mike Mauer.
We'll do this. Time for Mike Mauer's Monday Mantra.
And Mike's Monday Mantras? Last night's game had everything a fan would want to see. Goals, fights, and a wild, dominant performance. Last night's game was a great learning curve for everyone. They stuck together, people stepped up to look after their teammates. It was a challenging game, especially with the high number of penalties. But they regrouped, redisciplined, and did what was needed to win the game. So we're looking forward to next week's game. It certainly wasn't a game of tiddlywinks.
That was Mike Mauer's Monday Mantra.
Catch us in the car?
Download the TuneIn app
Or log on at hcr923fm.com.
So a light-hearted look at ice hockey there from the wondrous thoughts of Mike Mauer.
And that's going to be a weekly event.
Yeah, you'd be like that. That was a bit off the cuff that for us this evening, the way we put that together. So hopefully that's going to go down quite well. I like that. Quite a philosophical look at the week just gone by and the week ahead, I think.
That's good.
Coming up weeks, we've got we've got Sutton Sting now. Sutton Sting, I know a few players for Sutton Sting, and one of them, I'm going to give him a quick shout out. David Pyatt, you had better turn up on Sunday because I've got an old shirt of yours that you need to sign. And every time I have a game against the team that David's been playing ever since he left Hull, he's never there, so I can't get the shirt signed. So, David, the shirt's going to be in my bag, and I will be nobbling you at some point after the game to get this shirt signed. It's only been waiting, I don't know, about nearly 10 years. But no, they've got a good bunch of players out at Sutton.
So you're going to be bringing your pen then?
Oh, yes.
Just in case that's why he's not been turned up, because he hasn't got a pen.
Oh, no, I've had the pen. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting fixture against the team we haven't played yet.
It is, considering Simon used to play for them. So there should be a little bit of inside knowledge, hopefully.
So, yeah, well, mind you, a lot of the players from around that area will know each other, so we have a fair contingent who will know a number of the players who play for Sutton. So it's sort of a derby game without a derby game for them. It's definitely going to make, hopefully, for a lively affair.
Well, at the start of the season, we had in our minds who would be the strong teams and who would be, shall we say, the weaker teams. And it's been quite interesting because some of the teams we played have probably moved up slightly in the category status from last year, with definitely Bradford playing better, Coventry playing better, Telford coming to us and having the game plan, which didn't work because we still won.
Well, I've just called up the league table. It's a little bit unsettled at the moment due to the number of games played, but Wild, of course, at the top played 3-1-3. Altrincham in second unplayed 2-1-1, and Telford in third played 4-1-2. So, and then we've got Sheffield Senators in fourth played 2-1-1. So it's very tight even at the moment at the top of the table. At the bottom, Dragons D2 haven't won a game yet, unfortunately for them, and the Blackburn Hawks D2 team, they haven't won a game, but again, they're both basically brand new teams to the league this year, and so they're going to take time to gel.
They've been put together for the league, haven't they? For this, as you say, for this year. So there are players playing for D-side who have played at Widnes in other recreational teams, and there is a couple of players for the Hawks who have been around Widnes in the past.
So it is going to be a very interesting weekend when we play Sutton, because they're currently fifth in the table, played one, won one. So from that, you can't really read a lot into it. This is where the early stages of the league are always a bit tricky to gauge where you're going to fit in. But it's going to be a very, very interesting season. I mean, Coventry Blaze and Bradford Bulldogs have improved a lot. I mean, mind you, I always take my hat off to the Coventry Blaze NAHL team because they've always been a good set of skaters from when I've seen them play. So, they always give a good game. And I've got to give a shout out to Hull Jets as well, because we haven't mentioned them yet. And they're having a big rebuild because, of course, the Hull Pirates coming into the D1 league.
Yeah.
That's changed the structure of things over in Hull, so I'm looking forward to seeing the Hull Jets this year as well. See how they've put the team together, and they've got a lot of the core players back. But it's going to be interesting to see how the additions into the squad have fared to them over the coming weeks. Right, our guest again. Some of the players on the squad probably haven't are new to the team this year, as we all know. I mean, how have they taken to having somebody around like yourself?
Well, I was laughing with one of the players last night because they thought I was just there to bake cake and bring cake in. They thought I'm this random person. They were all laughing at me. They say, "No, she just doesn't make cake or bring quiche."
Was it the quiche was yours last night?
Yes.
Yeah, Mikey did well keeping hold of his quiche whilst I was doing the interview. Actually, someone tapped him on the back. It flew out of his hand, and he managed to catch it. So maybe we've got a young goaltender in reserve, Mikey.
Yeah, so they did wonder who I was at first, but I introduced myself pretty quickly. I always do, and I just hang around and they get to know me.
It's sort of you're saying about sort of the family feel at Wild Games. I mean, somebody who has sort of two perspectives. You do have an involvement with the club, but also you're seen by the fans, and you're a fan as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you see certain things happening on the ice, I mean, you can. It's a rough game.
Yeah,
it is a rough game.
Yeah,
and in the ideal way of a game running, it can get physical. I mean, we always ask about the violence and the fighting. I mean, there's time to fight and there's time not to. You see the little ones, the young kids. They always seem to love it. Is that a lot? The way in which it gets the excitement going, is that sort of how your take?
It's not just the violence that gets the kids going. I'll tell you what really does get the kids going. When they're down by the glass area, the perspex, and the players just tap the ice hockey, the hockey sticks, and acknowledge that the kids are there. The kids absolutely love it, and of course that in turn gets the families, because look what they've just done to my kid. They just acknowledged that we were there, and for the families, that is so important. That the interaction between the players and the families is great.
Yeah, well, I think that's one thing about the rinks more than the arenas. I'm not knocking arenas are there, they have their purpose and they get big turnouts, but when you've got the rink sizes, particularly a rink like Widnes, or I can use Hull again. I often use Hull because I know Hull, where as the supporters leave the stands, they come down to the rink level, and the back row isn't that far. They can actually see the faces of the players during play. So they do feel. Do you think you feel a part of what's happening?
You do feel very much part of it. Yeah, because you're there on that same level. You can see everything, every detail that's going on. Okay, you miss certain things because you can't see everything, but I mean, you do feel very included within the game. It's been all inclusive, and everybody gets involved in one way or another, shouting, screaming, yelling.
Well, everyone talks about the crowd being the extra man.
Absolutely.
And when you say to the players, does it cheer you up? They go, oh yes. When we're feeling down, when we're taking a goal, and you're like shouting for us, it's like, that doesn't matter. It's just, come on, let's get back to business, boys. We're going to go and get another one. We'll just get one back. And I think especially last night, the crowd were doing a great job of calming things down in one hand and geeing them up on the next hand. We go, come on, get back, just score another goal. Get back and just forget any of the roughness and anything like that. Just get back and just score a goal, and that's the worst thing for the opposition, because they're just sitting there going, "Well, we're doing our best. We've thrown a hand, and we still failed."
Well, I think that was proven very much so last week when the opposition took a time out to try and throw the game a bit. It's one of those tactics to sort of break the momentum. Took a time out. Face off, wild win, the puck straight down and scored. And it's like,
that was great, wasn't it?
And the tactic has worked against the team that called the time out. But again, that's how you best deal with it, and a lot of it with support from people like yourselves, Linda. It's just helps to get them to settle their heads, I suppose. It's a key thing that they don't get caught up in the wrong part of the moment. And you say that's a key sort of aspect of what you bring to the team.
Hopefully.
I'd like to think so. I mean, being able to talk to somebody about things can often release sort of an inner demon, if you want.
I'm always there, especially when there's incidences on the ice. You'll always find that the person that's missing from the stand then will be me. I just go and make sure that player is A-OK. That's my role.
I'm sure they appreciate that. It's having someone to talk to and blow off steam to sometimes. Which and you need at the moment. You don't need it 20 minutes later. You've got to let it out. However good or bad it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's the same, really, aren't they?
Yes. I think we're going to have a little song about a nice happy moment now, shall we?
Yeah.
A little bit of Frank.
Oh yeah.
Fly Me to the Moon. Bit of Frank Sinatra there, Fly Me to the Moon. It's the last about 10 minutes of the Time to Go Wild radio show here on Halton Community Radio 92.3 FM. We would, of course, like to thank everyone who's been listening. And we've sent poor Linda into a bit of a flat with these couple of questions you've got for her. Well,
you're very cruel. I'm asking a chaplain who she'd sacrifice. It's not the best thing in the world.
No. Well, they're sacrificing a crystal for, so come on. You've had a quick chance to have a think. It's the Crystal Maze question. And you've got boys from the team, and it can be any of the teams that you've been involved with, on your team in the Crystal Maze. One of them, and the two have been locked in. Who are you going to sacrifice a crystal for to get out? And who are you going to say, nah, I'm going to leave them in?
Sorry, Mike. It's going to be you, Mike Moore, because he's got broad shoulders. You can take it.
Oh, big Mike Moore staying in. Okay.
He just batter his way out.
He would. He's got broad shoulders. He knows me. He'll take it.
Okay, so Mikey Moore staying in.
Sorry.
Who's you getting out?
Oh, well, it's got to be Ollie.
Oh, okay. For
got to keep on his good books.
So there you go, Ollie. You're saved. All right. So, and my other cruel question.
Oh my.
Hollywood's making your life story. Who's your leading lady and who's going to be your leading man?
Oh.
And you can go all out on this one. Go on.
Marilyn Monroe.
Ooh, yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I can picture that.
But I'm not her.
No, but
And my leading man, I'm a bit partial to Frank Sinatra.
ooh, the president himself.
Oh,
well, so there you go. That one I wasn't expecting. I was expecting more like a Rhett Butler or something from that one. But
I thought she was going to say her husband, but she's...
Oh no, it has to be the Hollywood film
I've
star.
only been married 30 years and I didn't say my hubby. Oh dear. I'm in trouble now.
No, it's who best encompasses hubby, you see.
Oh, Frank Sinatra.
Well, there you go.
There's obviously got a singing voice.
I've redeemed myself.
Yes.
There's one last question that we can ask.
Go on.
So if you were stranded in the middle of nowhere,
Ooh.
what 5 items would you really want to have with you?
My hubby.
Last one.
Without a doubt.
Aw.
My kids.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We'll class them as one item.
Yeah, that's one. Family's
lovely.
one item. Yeah.
Well, then mobile phone.
Mm-hmm.
Latest technology. I've had family like before. And my dogs.
The dogs.
Absolutely.
Oh, some sort of companionship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, you end up talking to yourself, and you end up with that as the only sane conversation you get. You don't want that.
And she's got the family there, so it's not that bad.
Yeah. Definitely. All important.
Yeah, well, as we say, family is very important, and it is like being part of a family coming to ice hockey games, no matter where you go. So, I mean, wherever your local games are, I do recommend taking them in. I mean, so you say the same, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you ever get to any of the away games?
Altrincham and Deeside. I tend to just go to them.
What I mean, how you feel at those games? I mean, it's a very different feel, but
two totally polar opposites from Deeside to Altrincham. The ring itself, the fans themselves, two totally different feels when you go to there. One's very much rivalry. The other one is rivalry, but not as fierce as possibly the team in Wales might be. We've experienced that in the past, but it's all fun on the ice.
Yeah, then on the road in Wales, I think that rivalry really got built up in our second season when we swept them 4-0. 2 home and 2 away games, and we completely dominated them that year, and it didn't go down very well. So the following year they did come back rather stronger.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's the whole thing about having good rivalries like that. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, where else would you get 700 plus people watching a game of ice hockey? And at what's now the 3rd tier, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think the rivalry as well is you encourage other teams to get better.
Yes.
Because we said Bradford's got better, Coventry's got better, Altrincham has definitely got better this year. And that's going to be one of the classic games, I think. And we've not played Sutton yet, so we don't know how strong or how weak they are. But I think you do encourage other teams to progress. If they see you doing well, they want to do well.
Yep.
I think that, yeah. I mean, I mean, it's a very, very important concept that we're all trying to improve the sport, and it also makes it good for the young, up-and-coming players that they try hard and get their places on the squads. I mean, we've seen some fun. I mean, Matty Barlow this year. I think I've seen some fantastic hands, and for a guy his age, he's got really good hands. He had some superb stick handling on the weekend. I'm thinking, I mean, Elvis, his stick handling was superb, but he's been playing the game a number of years, and Matt's young and up and coming, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, Matt, have you been getting tips off Elvis here for some of these manoeuvres? It was beautiful play.
He's on the same line, isn't he?
That's true.
I mean, the interesting thing you said there about players playing together, there was a junior competition earlier on in the year, and they actually intermixed the teams, because one team turned up and they didn't have enough players, so they gained 3 players from other teams, and they all played really well together. And the first match they lost because they were looking for each other. Second match they won. So it shows that you can build something on very quickly on a reasonable basis with teammates, and that helps on all levels.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting thing because it's one of those. It's not unlike a football or rugby where you've got a lot of players on the pitch at the same time. You only have a small group, and they've got to watch each other very closely. And it's surprising. I think it surprises all of us in this studio how well the players do intermix from different lines as they're played. So, your take on how you've been sort of developing your interest on the sport, it must be key.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way that they instantly know one coming off the ice, the other one going on, and that transition is so smooth. It's like almost like they know what the other one's thinking as they're getting off, and they get on. And it's so seamless from somebody looking at it. It seems so seamless that, it's amazing. I love to see that.
I like the way when you see a player flicking the puck across, and he's almost like, I know exactly where he's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's just the timing, the intuition. Mikey's going to be on the left, and he's going to come up now, and they flick the puck, and he's there. And it's just amazing.
I mean, players like Ollie and Stu Brittle have been playing alongside each other for a number of years, and I've known the Johnson brothers who played in Durham and Hull. I mean, they knew their game so intricately, but it's just one of these things. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop us all there because we're almost out of time. Yikes. So, thanks for coming in tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Linda.
And we'll be back next week with more Time to Go Wild Radio. So, until next week.
Good night.
Good night.
Ta-ra.